Everybody can see and hear me.
We're alive.
Oh my gosh. What's going on?
Man, it's the
You know-
snowmageddon. it, it is the snowmageddon.
Okay. Snowmageddon, apocalypse. I don't know. We've been pushed off the ledge. I'm ready to get
We
out
in
some
the set.
skis. This that
And
good snow.
and the moment that I decide to go live, my HP says reboot, restart. No, not yet. It's not time yet. It's not
Not,
time yet.
not right now, not right now. Later on tonight.
No. All right.
That's what
So
happens. At least it
I'm
wasn't a
cozy
problem
today.
with your electricity. Okay.
Not right now. I'm cozy today, and I'm doing my part because OG&E said we got to turn our thermostats down to like 68,
8.
68.
What? Yo, mine ain't on 68 on the
Yeah.
regular.
So I
Y'all
got my
trying
skull
to
cap
still
on.
freeze a sister.
I got my jacket that I got from the Tractor Supply. Look here, if y'all have not shopped at the Tractor Supply, then y'all sleeping because they have some of the most comfortable and warm things, and I got some coveralls on too.
This
Yeah.
man did not just plug Tractor Supply. I'm gonna need y'all to take note. Take
Tractor
note.
Supply, if y'all need some ambassadors, come holler at your boy
Can't take
because
the country out him.
no, you cannot. I'll be wearing these coveralls for the next probably 3 days because it's
It's
supposed to
okay.
snow. All this time it's supposed to snow. So
Same.
look, let's look. Look, I know we're a few minutes behind, but we're gonna get into this conversation.
Jump into
What is
it.
going on with Snowmageddon?
Hold on. Wait a minute, because there's a process to this. Now we've been doing this a few times. And just because we didn't got all excited and we covered in snow, I still want to give my little. Typically, we say, "What's good? What's happening? What's wonderful about life?" And I'm feeling like you pretty much caught up in the
Right.
snow. So I'm just go ahead and take this one because I'm ready. Okay.
I
And I
appreciate
want to
that.
say,
You know, that's teamwork makes the dream work, and I appreciate that.
okay.
Auntie TT, I appreciate that, Auntie TT.
Look at you. Here you go. So this is what I want to say. Y'all, it is Black History Month.
It is.
Yes. And I want to say on my heart this morning, I am thankful for the Thurgood Marshalls and the Ada Lois Scipio Fishers of this world. Why? They had courage. They showed us how to stand. They showed us that commitment and follow through, it gets you somewhere.
Yeah.
And in honor of Black History Month, although we know it's 365 Black, but we need to talk about these people and how they affect your life. Do they affect your life on a daily? What are your positive affirmations? So what's good to me today is I'm Black. I love my Blackness. I'm proud and I'm living all in it. And today I just happen to think I'm so thankful for the Thurgood Marshalls of the world. And I wanted to pose this question actually.
Come
Can
on.
we say there's other Thurgood Marshalls of the world? Now, I'm not questioning our attorneys because I know they're amazing, but I'm saying the impact that he put. Are there any more Thurgood Marshalls of the world? All right, happy Black History Month. All right, that's what I got.
Okay.
What you got? What you got?
What am I thankful for? You know what? Basic fundamental things. And there are people out here today that are not they're homeless or they are cold. I mean, these freezing temperatures for us it's inconvenient to have to turn down your thermostat to save the grid and all that stuff.
Right.
But I'm just thankful to be able to have a roof over my head. It's a minor inconvenience because there are people out there who are trying to escape the freezing cold temperatures, and I'm just thankful that I have a place to call home and I can be inside and covered and go through this inconvenience temporarily. Because there are some people out there who didn't make it, and the most tragic thing that I read was from the Home Alliance's post that said the reality is that somebody's going to die this week from
You
being out
know,
in the cold. And that
right,
hit, when I say that hit home, that hit hard home
right.
because we all could be in a situation one paycheck away, one situation away
Okay.
from being homeless. So I'm thankful for that. I'm
Listen,
definitely
I can appreciate you coming at me with all that good. You got me feeling a little somber over here. I'm celebrating the richness of Black history, and we want to talk about. But you know what? I ditto everything you said because it's true, and we take our lives for granted. All right,
yeah.
we are some of this entitlement. People need to realize we all have it in a certain way.
It could be worse. It could be worse. And
It
we,
could.
you know what? And a little bit add more to that. Like even when I feel like we've been in a constant snow and ice storm for about 3 months. That's what it feels like,
Okay.
right?
Yes.
And we think about frontline workers. We talk about nurses, hospital professionals, and we talk about those people. But
Mm-hmm.
what about the utility line workers?
Oh my gosh.
The person that's out here handling, checking gas lines for a leak, um, folks picking up trash, contractors removing
Right.
trees, and all those folks, they're out there as responders in ways that we're not.
Front line
And
in a different way,
right,
freezing.
they're out there, cold,
Mm-hmm.
wet, and all, and
Mm-hmm.
pushing through it. And and they deserve as much kudos as as those who we labeled as our frontline workers too. So let's not forget about them. We cannot forget about them.
Exactly. And I just want to take this opportunity to shout out the Oklahoma Highway Patrolmen who
Yes.
often are at the Capitol
Yeah.
keeping us safe. And I just want to say thank you because during one of those freezing snowy days, my car decided it didn't want to stop because why? I left my lights on. And so on this cold day, this officer came out and gave me a jump, and I'm telling you, he didn't have on any gloves, and I'm sitting up there wondering, where are your gloves? Hands freezing. But it's those people as well. They're out here rescuing us when
Did
we
you
do
have your
silly things.
isotoners?
Oh, I was ready.
Look, I remember I used to try to sneak my grandma's isotoner gloves.
There's some gloves. That's some nice snugness right there.
But I would take that because I was like, they're just gloves. I would take the isotoner gloves and go outside and play with them.
Oh no.
That was the last time.
Yeah, because
Yeah,
grandma wasn't having it.
read between the lines. Back in the day, they'd spread in a garage and spoil children. Back in the day. Back in the day. All right.
That's right.
So
All right.
you know what we had an election, February 9th.
Mm-hmm.
There were 49 counties in the election. There are 49 counties that had an election, including school board. I believe there were commissioners, also council persons throughout the state. And what was interesting about the election going into it, even after the presidential, it was said they're anticipating a low voter turnout.
Oh, yeah.
And it just made me wonder, if we know there's going to be a low voter turnout, why are there not more organizations or efforts to step up to increase engagement? And we've talked about this several times, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And people have different philosophies. Some folks believe that we got to increase the number of registered voters.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I looked at the Oklahoma State Election Board, and there are approximately, I think it was like 2.3-ish million registered voters in the state of Oklahoma.
Okay.
There are about close to 3.7 million or so people in the state of Oklahoma.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Now, that gap could account for those who are ineligible to vote. Ineligible meaning under age of 18,
Right.
or because of our current laws that they are not able to vote because they may have
Felony convictions.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
What are your thoughts about it? Should we prioritize registrations, or should we prioritize activating those who are just not voting? What do you think?
Listen, I'm so glad you asked me that because those two are one and one, first of all, for me, because we always have people who are turning 18. Mm-hmm. They need to be registered to vote, right? Yep. But the one and one means this for me. You educate the voter, the prospective voter. You tell them all the things that they are expected to receive, why this works that way, describe, show them what a voter registration card looks like, help them to understand why this is so important to them and their community where they live, why they're, not why they're in a precinct, but they have precincts. And so they can understand who they might be voting for, because just like you just described, everybody didn't have the same things. We always don't have the same things on our ballot. So if you got a friend down in Duncan and you live in the city, I'm not going to have the same people naturally. But you could live in the city, have two people, one in Edmond, one in Oklahoma City, and y'all are talking about who's on the ballot. And if the person isn't educated about how this stuff goes, they could go to that ballot looking for the wrong name. So it is crucial that we educate the voters and register them to vote. Now, to me, the prioritization is the same. We keep that same momentum every single time. So you register some people to vote. How about reach out to those folk, right? And this brings me to being precinct chair and things of that nature. If you're involved in your party, you sign up to be a precinct chair, you have the opportunity to continue to keep that line of communication open. And you don't have to just reach out when it's time for an election. Reach out because they're your neighbor. Happy birthday.
What's the role of a precinct chair? Like, I hear people talk about precinct chair and I see it on the election board. So what is, for those who don't know, what is the role of a precinct chair?
So look, I'm gonna just tell y'all like this. When I signed up to be a precinct chair, nobody gave me directives, but because Tanasha is who she is, I'm a creative. And so what I know I want to give to the people. Precinct chair, and this is what it is. You have to have a level of creativity about yourself. You host things in your community. You reach out to, because it's not just you as the chair. You have a vice chair, you have a secretary in your community as well. You guys come together, you make plans. You can may have meetups at the local library. You can have block parties. You can have vote, just plain old voter registration. We setting up on 115th and Western, but a precinct chair is the person who really galvanizes in those grassroots to keep the line of communication open and to welcome in other constituents who don't even know. So it's your duty as a precinct chair to keep it live, to keep people excited, right? Let them know what is happening outside of elections. Things can be going on in your very community that they don't know about. Precinct chair is just being that person that's giving some good, positive energy and direction to the people in your community.
So a precinct chair is like a host. Like a party host. Like you come to.
No. I wouldn't say that because you're presenting ideas, right? So I'm not saying that you are the person that goes and makes sure we got balloons and we're decorating and all that. I'm saying you are the person that helps people understand, listen, we are here. We want to vote. We want to be active in our community. So when I say galvanize, you are that energy, that force of energy. And it helps people to understand, listen, it's not time for us to sit down, right? We got snow all over this is a great time. We got snow all over our community. You could come together as a precinct chair and say, y'all, we're going to get out here and shovel snow from 10 to 3 or whatever. That's a long time, be froze. But you know what I'm saying? Yeah. You are a person that helps to bring the group together. It's almost like a caucus, just a group of people that we're constantly fighting for, or not fighting, just constantly making sure that we know what's going on in our community. And the forefront of it all is voter prioritization. Yes. education and registration, but you do it in very creative ways. So
Yeah,
you
Amy
say a
Brown.
host. I don't know. I don't agree with host.
And you helped me with that. You really did, because I had a different idea from just observation. And I know, you mentioned that you are a precinct chair. Amy Brown made a great comment. A precinct chair galvanizes and grassroots to open up other constituents that don't even know, connects and educates like a driving force. And that's good to know, because when I look at the representation of precinct chairs, when I've gone to vote and a precinct chair is showing up,
Mm-hmm.
I very rarely have seen someone that looks like me. Now, I'm at this point not saying that this is a suppressive issue at this
Right.
point in my statement, but I will say that this seems to be an opportunity for us to understand what's going on at the polls and how to engage. So you don't have to be a part of a political party or hold a chair in a political position in a political party, or be a part of an HOA or a civic organization to get involved. There are other ways to get involved to encourage people to vote. And I go back to the number of registered voters. Let's say Oklahoma County, for example.
Mm-hmm.
There are 444,000, a little under 445,000 total registered voters. And of course, the predominant amount is Republican and Democrat, which I believe the Republicans in Oklahoma County are about 25,000-ish more than Democrats. Libertarians are somewhere around 15, 16,000, and independents are around or under 90,000. Just averages. Those more accurate numbers are on the Oklahoma State Election Board site.
Mm-hmm.
But when we look at the results of our elections,
Mm-hmm.
let's take February 9th as an example. There was an interesting number of for the victor,
Mm-hmm.
and it seemed to be that number did not exceed 5,000.
Mm-hmm.
And I wonder, is our environment shaping how we are engaging people, and we're recycling the same type of mindset, or are we truly saying, you know what, I'm here as a candidate running, and I'm going to talk to the people who don't vote. It's almost like in business. What is like in business?
Mm-hmm.
Everything to me comes back to business to me. What's the problem? Am I addressing the problem with the solution?
Mm-hmm.
Or am I recycling the problem with promises?
Now that's key. And you say it goes back to business, and I think in everything when we're planning, you address the who, the what, the why, and the how. And that's how you truly get through every single aspect or component of what you're doing. And I want to make one thing clear, though, because I'm not certain how people heard you just a minute ago. But in order to be a precinct chair, you have to be affiliated with a particular party. All right. It's not just a part. You're gonna have to be signed up. You got to be a registered voter. Okay. So I just want people to be clear about that. And I mean, whether you're independent or whatever, but registered voter.
Okay.
So I just wanted to make sure that they heard that clearly.
So you have to be a registered voter that is a member of a.
Well, you're going to be something on your registration. You're going to be
Okay.
independent. You're going to be something. So
Okay.
Just state it as a registered voter.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
I mean, because what we want is a person who believes in the process as well, so that they can lead others and assist in that galvanization. So, yeah.
Do you think it's possible that you can be a member of a party and still be truly bipartisan?
I think so, because everything, sometimes we just all agree on stuff. Like, we all agree that there should be a grocery store. Right? We probably all agree that all of our streets should be shoveled when the snow comes. Whether or not it actually happens.
Hold on, I got an example on that. So a young man, he had to be 13, 14 years old.
Mm-hmm.
Knocked on the door. Mind you, comfortable, you know, uh, got socks on. I'm
Did he have
drinking
on
my
shoes?
coffee.
How do
You
you
know,
notice socks before shoes? I'm just saying.
what I'm saying? Look, I got, no, I'm comfortable
Oh,
with my,
you
you
okay?
know,
You
I
okay?
got the
Okay.
socks on. I'm drinking some coffee that I got from Brew Brothers, which is a black-owned coffee shop that's a part of OKC Black Restaurant Weeks. Got to plug that in there.
Come
Right
on.
there on Britton and Classen. So I'm enjoying myself. He knocks on the door, young kid. He's like, I can tell he's practiced. He's
Mm-hmm.
asking, can he shovel the yard? And I'm like, it's cold. But
Mm-hmm.
he has a shovel, a snow shovel. It's probably like a $20 snow shovel. And I immediately clicked back to, man, when I was 11, 12, 13 years old, and I
You were
needed some
making
extra
money.
money, we cut grass. Because back then, gas was like 50 cents a gallon. You know,
Did you
we,
just date yourself?
well, hey, look, $1.50 got me 3 gallons.
I don't think I know about no 50 cent a gallon gas. But go ahead.
Look here, 50 cents a gallon. And so we $20 front yard, backyard. So when he was
Mm-hmm.
out there in the snow, y'all, it was cold. It was cold, cold.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, and I was like, how much? And he said, he looked around. He said, I can do the sidewalk. I can do the driveway, $40.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, sure. His look of surprise, he was like, really? I was like, yeah,
Made
like you
his
are
day.
here providing a service. And
Mm-hmm.
literally then the roads were not even were cleared. And this young man got out there and he gave his best. And when I say he did a professional job at that young of an age to clear the sidewalk, clear the driveway around the cars. He was even out in the street on the curb, $40. So I said, how many houses have you done? He said, he was excited. And he was still going to the next house. He said,
Woo!
I got $100.
That young energy.
Right. And I was like, he is cold. He's out there. He was committed to it. He made $100 with 3 houses.
Look at
He
that.
paid 40. So the other two probably paid about 30 each.
Mm-hmm.
But it reminded me of, where did our entrepreneurship ingenuity, what happened to that? Where growing up, we saw a vacant lot.
Mm-hmm.
And the grass was grown. And my uncle would say, hey, go cut that lot, I'll pay you. Now, I thought we were just making money, not knowing that if you don't cut the lot, keep the
You're
grass
fine.
cut, you can get fines,
Mm-hmm.
and they can put a lien on that lot.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody else can come and buy that lot.
Mm-hmm.
Like the whole psychology behind that. So watching a young man get out there in the snow and show, again, I'm not saying everyone do this because it is not safe. It is dangerous out there to be out in the snow and the cold. So if you are going to do that, please be safe. Let your parents know. Parents, please monitor your children for their safety while they're out there. But the fact that this young man, and it took him about 40 minutes. And he did 3 houses that day,
And
yesterday.
did you get his age? You know his age for certain?
He was about 13. He was about
That
13.
is so amazing.
He was
That
about
gives
13.
me all the hope in the world.
Yeah.
These Gen Ys, I
And I think
can
about him
appreciate it.
going from that place of, he is out here he made $100.
Okay.
He don't have it probably. I'm assuming, let's say he doesn't have a lot of bills. He made $100
Mm-hmm.
at
And
his age,
maybe 2 hours?
probably in a
You said
couple
how long
hours.
it took you about, took him
Yeah.
about how long? 40 minutes at yours?
Let's say he did that 3 days a week. And he just did 3 houses.
Right?
He would have made $300.
He would have been he's so happy with himself now. That helps with self pride, confidence, builds a person. And you asked what happened to our entrepreneurship. Where are you going with that? Are you asking about these parents? Are you asking about aunts and uncles? What you asking about?
No, well, I'm going to, when I look at, watching him, and I was just watching him, like, it was the little things he was doing. He was trying to get under the cars, like he was giving his all out effort. And I was like, what would that look like if we started changing the conversation about our communities? Instead of saying dilapidated or blighted or dirty lots. And someone said, you know what? Here's some lots that need to be cut. Y'all are at home or you need summer jobs. Go now again. I'm speaking from my experience growing up because we had those opportunities through programming, but still, if someone owns a lot, hey, I'll pay a young kid $40 to cut my
Right.
lot.
Right.
And how that psychology of getting a task and fulfilling a job can lead to opening a door to, wait a minute, I could actually have a lawn care business or become a landscape architect.
Right.
But it helps paint this picture of our community is actually beautiful and should be invested in versus blighted, divested. And I sometimes use those words and I'm trying to create a certain context for what we're working on.
Right.
But I wonder if we started changing the conversation of our communities are beautiful and there's opportunity for us to self-invest instead of waiting on government or elected persons to do a job when we could do it.
And I agree. We know that words have power, right? So there's no question in my mind that changing the narrative, I'm always with that. So it's up to us to give that positive feedback, especially to young men like that. And see, we're talking about where we stand with, what's the most important or priority is with voting and educating our voters. And I said, keeping the line of communication open. That young man, I don't know his parents or whatever, but it would be awesome because this is the type of thing that did happen back in the day. You didn't really know the kid without knowing the parent, right?
Nope.
And so you would have an opportunity, right, to reach out to his parents and keep that line of communication open. You never know where it leads you. So I totally agree, Apollo. Changing the narrative, we know the beauty that our community holds, whether you saw it growing up or not. I mean, I grew up in Oklahoma City, so I've seen plenty of businesses thriving and a lot of moving parts all over in that east side quadrant. We used to have so many different things for you.
Don't age yourself.
Listen, I don't mind, honestly, but I'm not going to that 50 cent gas. I'm sorry. I don't know what you're talking about. But from having, different programs that helped encourage youth to get involved, understand their oratorical skills, build their speaking skills, build their confidence in different areas. We had so many different things going on like that, all from community. So you just all up to me, it all goes together. It's a holistic approach. Right. We build these young people to become voters. And the first thing I said out my mouth was, we always have somebody turning 18. Yeah.
Always. There's always an opportunity to vote every month. Exactly. Not just in our off years, every month. So now people are talking about midterms. Mm-hmm. Right. So now the conversation is switching to 2022. What do you think will be different about this midterm election versus our previous midterm election?
Well, I'm going to tell you what I already know. The Democratic Party, okay, help me out. What's his name? Jamie, I can't remember his last name. Anyway, I'm already getting text messages to keep the fundraising going, keep people involved with this particular party. I believe what'll be different this time is that we're going to see a larger amount of people getting out there and being a part of the grassroots as opposed to folks sitting at home. I'm like I said, I got that from Jamie, but I also have gotten messages from people in the community. How are we going to get this person out of seat? What are we going to do? So people are ready for plans. They're ready, chairs. They're ready, leaders. You don't have to be a chair. You can be a leader in your own right. They're ready for us to get out there, show them how this can work. And you know what? There's no holds barred to me. I just think that when we're out here trying to get people to want to get in the voting, get in and vote. Utilize the voter registration card you've been having for years, right? Yep. No holds barred to me is this. I want to talk to you about it. If you want to give me 5 minutes, I'm gonna talk to you about why it's good for you to go ahead and be a part of this and serve your community, the culture, however you want to put it. It's your civic duty, all of those different things. You're gonna give me 5 minutes, I'm gonna take those 5 minutes. Hose bar means when you go to the grocery store and encounter different people. I was at Walmart before Snowmageddon, and this young man was in the I don't know what he was trying. He was trying to get something for nasal something. I don't know. I don't have them sinus issues, but he asked me through his mask, and there wasn't nobody over there but me and him. And he's like, "Well, what's better for this?" My point is, you can have any type of conversation with a person anywhere, from at the gas station, y'all talking across the pump. If a person is willing to have the conversation, y'all, I think that Apollo, I think we'll have more people out there in the streets. That's what I think.
Yeah, and I'm hoping to see that. And what I've noticed also, and I look, listen, um, I think been a lot of polarizing things that have happened over the last 6 years, not
Mm-hmm.
just 4, but the last 6 years.
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, we got to give the Republicans their props for what they did in Oklahoma. They got more than 44, I think 44,000 new registered voters to register to vote.
Okay, so
So
is it that they got them to do that, or people just because people change
right,
for whatever reason?
whatever it is, right? It's the same thing, right? So even if you are whatever party affiliation it is, you had some value or platform that got someone to come to your side.
Okay.
So you have to give them credit for what they were able to do, whether it's new voters, re-energizing voters, new voters, folks
Right.
moving from, I've heard this, folks went from being registered Democrats to Republicans because they feel like in the state of Oklahoma, you can't get nothing done as a Democrat. All those things have happened, but in the baseline numbers of they got 44,000 versus the Democratic Party, which was somewhere around 15,000. Now, going back to numbers, if I know that I have a pipeline of 44,000 voters and I am plus 29 to 28,000 over my competitor,
Mm-hmm.
here's what I know: I'm going to win.
Well,
Right?
wait. No, you
Yeah.
can with
Yeah.
numbers, but this is the thing: you don't have to vote straight party.
I have a better chance of forecasting my victory because
Okay,
my
in
pipeline
numbers.
is
Let's
bigger.
just keep that straight. It's in
I
numbers.
have a total. I have more people registered in my party
Mm-hmm.
than the other one does. So the other one
Mm-hmm.
is working from a disadvantage. It doesn't guarantee victory, but it does increase the likelihood there will be more victories,
Okay.
right? And so I think it's fair to give the Republican Party kudos for doing that, which means there's a lesson for whether it's a party, a civic group, even if you're trying to build something. The
Mm-hmm.
lesson is you got to get more people on your side.
Yep.
One of the quotes that I heard from I would listen to Eric Thomas. You know, I like listening to Eric Thomas.
Yep.
And one of the speakers said, "I have to know more than you to be better than you."
Mm.
And
Well,
what he was saying was, I got to learn more information to create an advantage for myself, so I can beat you. Because it's always chess over checkers, and
right,
it
in
goes
preparation.
exactly, and whoever has the most knowledge
Mm-hmm.
wins.
Mm-hmm.
So it's difficult to find information in our state about candidates and where they
Mm-hmm.
stand. So the less information available leaves them to their own uh, senses or talents to find.
Mm-hmm.
But what if they're not able to find? What if they don't know where to look? People get frustrated and they don't engage. I think
But
it's also a play as well, but that's just.
I mean, I agree with that, but at the same time, we always go back to what if they don't know where to look? What da da da. The responsibility is on me.
Yeah.
On me and others like me, others like you, who have the information. Now, I mean, each one teach one. We've said that for a long time, and it is necessary for the people who are out here in these grassroots campaigns to make that reach. And so to your point, yes, on numbers, I just have to go back to this. Yes, on numbers, yes, you can figure that out that way. But the one thing about voting here in Oklahoma is that you have an opportunity to vote straight party or not.
Yep.
You know, so just because you're a Republican, just because you're independent or Democrat, you don't necessarily have to vote all that way. So that's an opportunity that the other party or the other candidate has to win over someone. You know, if you're Dem and you're talking to a Republican about your campaign and they your ideologies, the things in your platform align with theirs, you got a voter that's going to cross over to you. So just taking the opportunity to get out there and talk to the other side, just because they're registered as that does not mean guarantee you a vote. I just want to be clear.
That you're absolutely right. And I think when you get comfortable knowing that, oh, we have this number, well, you still have to work. Still have to work that your district or your state. Now, let's say I'm the person, and there are so many bills that are being proposed, and legislation is in play right now. And searching for bills is overwhelming for me. Right?
So yeah,
I'm
really?
speaking not for me, not for me. You know, I'm a data person. I like looking at numbers. But let's say I'm the person that I am just completely overwhelmed with how to find a bill. Because once it's proposed and then there's to be changes to the language, all that. Is it easier for me to then figure out, well, I know there, so those who don't know, there are committees in the legislature. Is it easier for me to start with, let's say it's about energy, because I'm frustrated with things that are happening with losing power and all this stuff.
Right.
Is it easier for me to figure out where that falls in committee and reach out to the committee, or do you suggest that a person search for the bill and advocate that place? Like, where, if I don't know where to start, I don't know where I'm supposed to start with, where would you recommend a person at least start with?
First of all, if you just have interest, if you just have interest and you have no idea what's going on out there, senate.gov, house.gov are your friends. Those two websites are your friends. And I can tell you it's a very easy maneuverable website. It's very clear. You can find your legislator on that particular website, and you can also see the bills that they have proposed for the legislative session.
So if for the person listening, you're saying okay House and okay Senate.
Senate, yes.
Okay. All right.
And so if you're just a person that doesn't know, what's out there and you just want to find out, I recommend that you go to that website and you go on legislation. It'll show you, it gives you an option that you can export all the bills to an Excel spreadsheet. And the great thing is that all those bills are hyperlinked. So you can click on them and read the actual legislation. Once of course everything has been filed and we're past that, deadline's over, we're already introducing bills. So with that, there's 1,104 bills that were filed this legislative session out of the Senate. I'm not certain about the House. I haven't looked at it.
How many?
1,104 bills. Yes, and there's 48 senators. So we have quite a few bills that have been filed. And so now to your point about committees, when you go on there and you look at the piece of legislation, you can follow it. You have an opportunity to sign up for what is called LENS, LENS, and track the bill. And that helps you as the regular individual that we are out here just trying to get in the know. Say you found, so I have a few bills here that we have on energy. One run by Senator Bourne, too, actually. They're both energy bills, and I'll give you the numbers. Senate Bill 474 and Senate Bill 475. And be clear, when you are putting that in the tracking, you have to put SB. Otherwise, it won't get you where you need to be. And then there's a wind energy. We've been talking about wind energy for a very long time here in Oklahoma. That was filed by Senator Allen and Wallace, and that's Senate Bill 749. And then here was an interesting one to me, Senate Bill 1034.
Okay.
They wanted to rename the Committee for Sustaining Oklahoma Energy Resources as the Legacy Oil and Gas Innovation Committee. And that's filed by Senators Taylor and McIntyre. I don't know what that's about. I haven't read the legislation, but I wanted to provide, I knew we were going to come to this point, Apollo. I wanted to provide that particular one because it's interesting to me why we're out here now, and we keep laughing, calling it snowmageddon, but people are without power. We're having rolling blackouts. We're having different things to happen that make us question our infrastructure here in Oklahoma. So we want to know what is our legislature thinking about when it comes to helping us to sustain. Maybe it's time for us to do some different things. I mean,
Right.
I don't know the last time we had a grid change or some major technological changeover for us to help ourselves, but it looks like it's gonna happen now. So for that
Right.
person, I kind of got off a little bit, but for that person, everything I just told you, if you go to those one of those websites, you look up the bills, you see make sure you notate the senator or House of Representative that wrote that bill, and you put it in Lens, you follow it. When you put it in Lens, it sends you an email
Okay.
every time it moves. So when it goes to a committee,
Okay.
it can go to any committee. We don't know. Judiciary, Energy, Health and Human Services, whatever the bill is, it'll send you a notice and let you know what happened in that committee, whether or not the bill passed, it failed, and it'll tell you, you can see how legislators voted.
So once I do that and I find that I am passionate, so if it's about energy, let's
Mm-hmm.
say let's say agriculture. So I'm a
Mm-hmm.
farmer and I find a bill, I'll find a committee that is creating legislation and pass legislation for me as a farmer.
Right.
When I make that call to that chairperson, what do I say? I mean, is it just as basic, simple as I don't know, like what does a person have to say when they call and say, "Hey, I'm calling," and they let's say I get froze. They're probably nervous about calling.
Right.
What is some of the like simple things you've heard that people say that are effective in making that phone call?
Okay, so effectiveness is placing the call itself. All right. Let's be clear. Your effort means everything. So that's number one. Getting on the phone and actually speaking to the person. Likely you'll be talking to the executive assistant or the legislative assistant in the House. Informing them of have the bill number, know what the bill is about.
Okay.
And tell them, because many times you're calling not just the chair of the committee, but you're calling all the committee members.
Okay.
So I know that Senator so and so or Rep so and so is a part of this committee, and we know that this bill will be heard on whatever day, and I'd like for him or her to vote yes or no.
Okay.
And sometimes you might get asked, well, why? Do you
Okay.
have anything else to offer? Some people just call automatically with a very passionate delivery on why they want something passed or something voted down. So people, either way, it's not a standard letter, standard scripted something. You're talking to people when you call. It's just like calling OG&E or
So just as simple as, hey, I'm calling about this bill. Like you said, it's helpful to know what bill you're calling about and say, and just voice your concern.
right.
So correct me if I'm wrong. So the person on the other end of that call from that um, legislator's office is taking notes of what that person's statement was. So they're just saying, so what feedback do you have? Well, I don't like it because they said this.
Right.
Right. And so that person takes that information, records it, and then shares it, and then that's helpful for the
Legislator.
legislator. Okay.
The voting
Okay.
legislator. Yeah. So you want to you keep a list of sometimes your emails are inundated with people yes on Senate bill whatever. I
Okay.
mean a lot of them. And so you keep a list and get a count of how many people want yes, how many people want no. Whoever gave a reason why, you read through that and you provide it to the legislator who actually has the opportunity to get in there and vote, right?
Right.
It's worth nothing if the legislator does not get the information. So
Okay.
I do say a phone call is great and email is twice the honey. So
Okay.
doing both, right? Like, just don't be afraid to just continue to reach out because it is necessary and it's your right to do so, right? And I mean, having so many people, a whole campaign. Let's go back to those chairs.
Yeah.
Precinct. You have a whole campaign, whole list of people that say, "Listen, we want this. We're building a park. We want this park." I'm going into city stuff,
Right.
but we want this. So
Right.
let's show the people who make these decisions for us. We vote them in, whether I voted for you or not. You're still representing me. I get
I
a
don't.
vote.
But you know what? Today I'm playing devil's advocate.
Okay.
I'm going to play the opposer. I'm not going to say devil's advocate.
Okay.
I don't believe it works. I don't believe that me making a phone call or sending an email works. So what I'm asking for in response is if you have some examples where you've seen that making phone calls has actually helped and either maybe changing language or the end result of a bill that was proposed and passed.
Listen, I don't have to
Is there
sell
something
Oklahoma.
you can share?
Listen, I don't have to sell Oklahomans on this because Oklahomans have seen it in the last few years, over the last 4 I know, from the teacher walkout to the GDP. Now, I know y'all remember that gross production. Yeah, that's right. The domestic product. Get it right. So anyway, those were the people speaking out against and for what they wanted. And that was in a massive way, showing up, sitting and doing all that stuff. My point is it started with a phone call, right? So there's and I also have a piece of legislation that I know from one individual having a situation that countered what was being asked for in this piece of legislation. And it resulted in the chair of a committee saying, listen, we'd like to change this to this. And if the legislator said yes, then they would go ahead and pass it on through and see if we could get it heard on the floor and see if it would pass. But from one person. So I can tell you, your impact, that's why I said your effort is that phone call. All of it works. You have to give it a try. You never know what your words may do with that particular legislator. You don't know if the legislator received a bill from another constituent in your community and y'all just don't agree on some things, and maybe you can help him or her get some amendments placed on that bill.
I'm glad you said that, and I'm pulling it out for a reason because I've seen it for myself in conversations where people truly just did not know. In talking about challenges with PPP and the CARES Act, people had just some basic information that was kind of just from reports and research, but had very little information from actual business owners of the impact locally and on the ground. And to be able to share that and then send them people, business owners who've been impacted, help educate them on what's needed. Yeah, you're one person representing a district or a state that thousands of people. You're not going to get everybody. So I appreciate you sharing that so that way people know. The more information you share by keeping the lines of communication open.
That's right.
And contacting the person you voted for. Right. Even if you voted for someone that lost the election.
Right.
The person in office represents you.
That's right.
You should contact them. So even if y'all are of different registered political parties, doesn't matter. That person is there representing you. So you can hold their feet to the fire and keep them accountable because they should know. And
not only that,
sometimes they just don't know, but sometimes as well, they do know, but they also may have a different agenda.
Exactly. that's what I was gonna say. Not only hold their feet to the fire, but sometimes you guys establishing a relationship with a person. Relationships matter.
Yes.
And if you
Hashtag.
right and they if you go forth with a positive attitude, listen, I appreciate what you're filing, but can we do some of this? Can we do some negotiation? It's all in the way that you um, attempt to associate with that elected official. So
Something
remember
else that
that
I
it could
also
be
found
you.
too is that like there are some things on the in Congress that I may not know about. So I found
Mhm.
out recently that there's legislation being proposed that would offer grants for operating costs for a farmer's market or a grocery store in certain types of communities. So when you reaching out to your legislator, well, you'll find out other information that's coming down above them or in
Right.
different committees that they've heard about. Now it's okay, well, how can I work with you to ensure that this bill gets passed to garner support because
Mhm.
we want more full service grocery stores in our communities where there's a food desert. And let me be clear, the Black community is not the only
Right.
community that's a food desert in our state.
Right. We don't
We
talk
are
about
trained
rural
to be
communities
number
enough.
three and
Yeah.
hungriest state, number three. So that means that if we are smaller percent of the population, y'all, let's change our language to the state of Oklahoma is hungry, not just Black and brown folks.
Okay.
So to have a full service grocery store is something you can get behind by keeping those lines of communication open. And I appreciate that. And I'll say this. I know you, for what you do, Tanasha, and you working very closely with elected officials, and this is something this is your passion. But I appreciate how you deliver it to make it simple for people to hear. Because
It's
if
my
you're new
pleasure.
to that space, it can seem intimidating because you're
Right.
not in it. But then
Right.
when you realize, like, wait a minute, so it I can be affected by calling.
Hmm.
Yeah,
That's right.
you're feeding information. So I definitely value appreciate your perspective and making it seem like y'all. It is really simple to
I
say
appreciate
pick up the
that.
phone and call.
I appreciate that. I do want to say, you asked earlier, how do they know when you were playing the opposer? They haven't seen things happen. Consistency
Yep,
means a lot too. And
yep,
so as much as I've given it to you, I've said consistency without saying it when I say keep the lines of communication open, keep that reach out at precinct chairs and all that stuff. But whenever a group of people presents to a legislator, don't give up if your bill doesn't get heard or it doesn't get passed through all the committees.
mhm,
Maybe you just got to keep on keeping with it the next session. You got to keep the open lines of communication with your legislator that you're working with. Find some more research on whatever it is that you're trying to get passed and help them to see, listen, this will work for Oklahoma too.
right,
You've got
right,
to be committed to your cause because, folk, we give up. We take one step and then we
right.
go, it didn't work. Well, that's not true. I mean, it's just like taking a test. If you
Mhm,
earn too many CPAs and they pass that test, they pass on the first try.
right,
Hopefully they do, but some of them don't. So they go back,
right.
and that's the way you have to be. You got to
But even with those
prepare.
CPAs, though, they're around other CPAs who are taking that license. So when you're around like-minded people, you benefit off of their energy. You feel
Right.
supported. That's why it's important that those relationships are very important because I might get frustrated and feel like I'm doing this thing by myself.
Mm-hmm.
But if I know that, oh, I found somebody else who also makes phone calls too, now you can bounce off like, well, I tried this didn't work. You feel
Mm-hmm.
supported.
Right.
That's why connecting with people and
Mm-hmm.
galvanizing and mobilizing with like-minded folks about a specific thing. And y'all, it can be really as easy as saying, I'm gonna find 10 people, 10 of
Mm-hmm.
my friends or people that I know, because these are the conversations that happen. These are the typical categories of conversation we have: personal, music, food,
Movies.
uh, sports,
Movies.
movies.
Entertainment.
Well,
Period.
yeah, entertainment. We'll do entertainment as like sports and all that kind of stuff, and then politics. Whether it's
Oh, you love our
voting
religion?
for all that. That could be entertainment too. Uh, but we those are, let's say that's, and there are probably 10 themes of conversations we have on a regular basis.
Right.
And if those are part of your conversations, pull them and say, hey, you know what? Let's make a phone call.
Right.
Not just to folks that work out of the Capitol,
Right.
but your city council person, your
Oh,
county commissioner, your
all of it.
judges, your mayor. Depending on how things work, it could be other elected positions, but make those phone calls because you might be the connection to information that that person needs.
That's
Because
right.
they again, they represent a large number of people, and you can have your voice and name be heard.
And remembering this is what I like to look at. We all people.
Mhm.
They're all of these electeds are also constituents, you
They
know?
are.
And
Yeah.
so if they have an issue, it could be the same as your issue, right?
Yep.
So if they find
Yep.
out that they have 50 more people that's having the same issue as them, that
Right.
might be, we can go ahead and get this thing started. I'm just saying, realize that they are just like you. And a few minutes ago, I said, remember, it could be you. It could be if you decided to ever run for office for whatever. Um, and so once you run for office, you don't turn into a robot. You're
Right.
still a human being. So that's
Right.
how we need to look at each other. And expect for love leadership. Yeah, I said it.
Right.
If you offer it, it's going to come back to you in some type of way. So I'm just saying, y'all, just reach out and keep that line open because we need it. And when I was what was I doing? Canvassing for a particular legislator.
Mhm.
I got stuck talking to this constituent that wanted to tell me about all the problems on their street.
Mhm.
And I was just like, this person doesn't live on your street. Have you called the office? No, no. Have you wrote? No, no. Well, how do you expect for that elected to
Right.
know? And
Right.
so it's this is redundant at this point. You all get the idea. Call them up, call her up, and get on board. Galvanize. That word
Well,
is
like they say
serious.
in the church, faith without works is
Completely dead.
right. So we are 6 past the hour. Go do our little our outro commercial that we did start a little bit late, and I will take full ownership in that. I'm not gonna blame it on my laptop computer. Decide to do updates all of a sudden. But we appreciate you all tuning in to us. We do this every 2 weeks. We are the Oklahoma Black Pack. Our mission is to increase activity. We are here to ensure the voting power of Black Oklahomans and to increase the number of Black elected officials representing our caucus in our state. And so, for us to do that, it requires more. It requires help. We can't do this by ourselves. We are a group of volunteers who love our state. We want to see more happen across the state. So if you would go to our website at oklahomablackpack.com, you'll see the ticker down at the bottom. You can go to and donate, which helps us with our programming and voter registration efforts, other campaigns that we're going to create. And also, we need volunteers. And
Mm-hmm.
so volunteering does not mean I want to volunteer that you are a member. That's a separate process that we go through as an executive committee. But if you want to volunteer and be a part of increasing voter engagement, we implore you to go to our website, find out more information about us, but subscribe to be or sign up to be a volunteer and subscribe to our email newsletter for updates. So if you subscribe, then you'll get updates. If you donate, you'll be subscribed. So either way, we'll be able to communicate with you, keep those lines of communication open. And before Auntie Titi gives us our closing inspirational quote for the day, in regards to Snowmageddon, this is impacting our region, not just Oklahoma.
Yeah.
I have heard of friends in neighboring states that have been without power for going on 2 days.
Yeah.
So I know this is frustrating, and we have people who are not sheltered in. If you may know some people who are impacted and they're not, maybe they lost power and the homes are not warm. It's a minor inconvenience for us, but if you do need support and help, you can reach out to, you can call 211. It's
Right.
a free resource, and they will direct you in the right way. But please be safe out here. Don't drive. If you don't need to go anywhere, y'all stay at home.
That's
Um,
right.
Stay at home. If it's not important, stay at home. You don't need those extra onions to do your red beans. You don't need them. I've cooked red beans without onions, so you'll be okay. Be safe out there. And then, and again, we will close with Auntie TT's inspirational quote for the day.
I just need to add to that for all of those of us who are pretty much addicted to working out, work out at home, because what we're not doing is getting stuck in the snow. I got a little bit extra to tell on my inspiration today, so give me just a little bit, sir.
You got it.
And this I'll say at the end. As outsiders, we are expected to continue on as the system commands, primarily to preserve our ability to participate and just maybe one day win the lottery of opportunity to be the one who slips inside the door. I fully recognize the process and how effective it is. My problem is I don't like it, and I believe we can fix it. Not simply by dismantling what has been carefully constructed by centuries of patriarchy, racism, classism, and bigotry. No one has that kind of time. Instead, we have to hack it, figure out its flaws, identify backdoors, and overwhelm the system. Consider this the Madam Stacey Abrams call to action. And that's what I have for you today.
Well, and there you have it, people. My name is Apollo Woods. I'm the founding chairperson of Oakland Black Pack, and Tanasha Woods, Auntie TT, as I call her, she she is our policy chair for the Oakland Black Pack. We hope that you will continue listening to us every other Tuesday. So tune in on, what's today? The next will be first Tuesday in March, whatever that date is. I can't think right now. But follow us on social media at OKBPAC, and also subscribe to our newsletter at OaklandBlackPack.com. We will see you all around. I hope you will engage with us. And remember, there's always an opportunity to vote, and register someone to vote every month.
All right, y'all. Have a wonderful, wonderful rest of your day.